Hello, friends. Ice cream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. Today in small group, we're going to talk about tongue twisters. Come on, let's have some fun. All right, so today we're going to talk about tongue twisters. So a tongue twister is a phrase that is challenging because the words sound similar or they start with the same letter. So, for example, we have 6 slippery snakes slowly slithered south. Now, they are hard to say because they all start with the letter S. 6 slippery snakes slowly slithered south. So that's a fun one to do. The next one, okay. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked? So that one is a long one, but growing up when I was a kid, that was one of my favorite ones that we would try to say and say it fast. So that's a fun one. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? So that one. And then Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? So that one's just kind of a fun one because it's Wuzzy kind of sounds like was he. And so it's just a fun one to say. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? And then I think the last one that I have for you, and this one's pretty tricky because when you try to do an SH and then an S, like it all comes out, it all comes out funny. So she sells seashells by the seashore, and the shells she sells by the seashore are seashells for sure. So that one is a tricky one. Even for Miss Dina, I had to take my time and be careful not to misread the words. So that one is a fun one to do as well. So if you notice, in these, the sounds are very similar and are difficult to say, especially if you try to say them quickly, let alone, those of our friends that are just learning to say words. So it can be fun, a lot of fun, saying these little tongue twisters. So what you can do is, first of all, starting off, read the tongue twister slowly to your child and point to the initial or first letter of each word as you read. Listen to the tongue twister. Doesn't it sound silly? Invite the child to say it with you. Okay? Then you can ask the child to identify words in the tongue twister that sound the same. Draw out the first sound of the alliterative word. So an alliteration is simply the first letter being the same. So, and all of these that we did, like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, the alliteration is the letter P because it goes throughout the tongue twister. Okay, and then, you would say, what letter sound do you hear when we say Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers? Which words have that sound? So you would go through the whole thing and talk about each word. And then you would encourage the child to add words with the same sounds to the existing example on the chart. So if you're doing Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, you would see if your child could think of other words that start with the letter P or have that p sound. Okay, and then you could also choose a sound with the child and think of new tongue twisters with that sound. Offer words to help the child get started. Write the tongue twister on the chart. You might say something like this. Can we think of a new tongue twister that uses a t sound? How about 10 tiny turtles? We need the name of an animal that starts with the t sound. Now let's read it together. 10 tiny turtles touched the tall trees. So it doesn't have to be long, like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. You can pick any letter and an animal and just kind of go through and think of words that would all go together to make a tongue twister. And then finally, encourage the child to create his own tongue twister. This would be your advanced children. Your children may be getting ready to go into kindergarten. Write the words on the chart as the child says them. Review the chart together when finished. It sounds like you chose the t sound for your tongue twister. Let's read the tongue twister you created. Red, ripe raspberries roll on the road. How many sounds? I'm sorry. That was supposed to be My eyes were not focusing, so I apologize. So you would say, I think you chose the sound for a tongue twister. So let's read the tongue twister you created and see how many sounds in the tongue twister. Okay, so there's lots of ideas for you to do with the tongue twister. Start off simple. There's lots of simple little tongue twisters you can Google. I found lots of them, and have some fun. Have your child come up with a whole new tongue twister, and I would love to hear them. So put them in the comments below so I can see what tongue twisters you created. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video. Thanks for watching, friends.